And so what we're doing now is we went ahead and jumped up on the roof. As a matter of fact, this roof is not so steep that we can't stand on it. So we're going to do the rest of this duplex off the roof. Now see this nail that's holding the gutter in, that little bar right there that's holding in the gutter? That's the nail that holds the gutter to the fascia board. We're putting the light clip right on the other side of that just so we have a good place where we know next year when we come to put the lights up again, we know that's where we'll start our light bulbs. And we'll make a little note on the diagram that we make, because you want to make a diagram of the house and where the lights go on the house. And we'll make a little note on there that'll say, you know, start first bulb right here next to the nail. Right here, Troy's shown you that he likes to go ahead and get the lights strung out ahead of time. So when you have clear bulbs like we do, this is the best way to do it. When you do have colored bulbs, you have to be careful because the colored coating will scratch off. Right there we're showing you where we're going to go with the light bulbs. They're going to eventually jump down to that lower gutter, and we'll talk about that more later. So once Troy gets the bulbs sort of laid out next to the gutter and sort of, you know, ready to go, then what he'll do is he'll just sit down and scoot down towards the edge of the gutter and clip the lights on, as you can see he's doing here. You know, he's a young guy, he's in good health, he feels flexible enough and safe enough that he can just sort of sit there towards the edge and reach over his lap and clip the light bulbs in. You know, this is a great way to do it if you're comfortable on a roof in this way. I personally prefer to still work off of a ladder, especially if it's a nice safe ladder that's got, you know, and the ground is flat and all that stuff. So now what you're seeing Troy do here, he's going from this upper gutter on a higher part of the house, and he's now sort of dropping down to this lower gutter. And in between there's no gutter. But instead of cutting the light strand and putting in a jumper or putting in an extension cord, we're just going to continue on with the lights, and we're going to end up with a whole bunch of lights in between the upper gutter and the lower gutter that we don't need. So what we do is we like to back those bulbs out, we unscrew them, and then we're going to tape over the empty sockets. If you don't tape over the empty socket, water will get in it and it'll cause problems. Your circuit breaker will pop all the time. But if you take some black electrical tape, and Troy's going to show you the good technique here, and so what you do is you take the black tape and you tape it over the socket, and the tape isn't quite wide enough to cover the whole socket, so he's going to swing it back up around again, and he's going to cover the other half of the socket. And you see him pulling it tight so it gets a good tight seal, and then you wrap around the other direction and just sort of wrapping that socket good and tight. That's going to make it good and watertight. And he's just going to do that with every socket in between the upper and the lower gutter, and you can see it here. And so there'll be no lights in between there, but that's okay, you don't need the lights in between there. But then once you get to the lower gutter, then Troy just continues to clip on, and of course once he gets to the downspout and everything else, he's going to do it just like we did the other side, all the way down the handrail. You know, it's going to be a mirror image of the other side. And you can see we did the wrap over there. You'll notice we did use red tape on this one because you want to color code the lights. And we ended up with about 5 or 6 extra bulbs. It was a little bit of a longer strand, so we wanted to make sure we had plenty of extra bulbs, which we did. But so now what we're doing is we're putting in a hang point for our load cable. We haven't used any screws yet, but those 2 load cables, in other words, the built-in extension cords that need to go back to the timer, instead of just letting them droop off the house or hang off the house, we are going to actually attach them to a screw eye up high because the weight of the load cable can pull on the sockets and the lights that are up on the house. So that's what it looks like right there. Remember, we started this part first. We did that first. We started up here, worked our way across off a ladder, down the downspout. We moved up to the house right there, and then picked up this handrail. Then we moved up here. We were actually on this part of the roof. We started from this corner. We were videotaping from the roof at this point. Troy laid out his cables and scooted across here. Remember up here, this is where the light bulbs were removed and taped up, going from this upper part to this lower part. Right in there, you can still kind of see them. And then here's this lower gutter here. Remember we did this,
And then we came down the handrail on the other side. Mirror image of the other side. There it is.